Hello and welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where in light of Ansu Fati and Pedri's new contracts, we're running through the 10 biggest release clauses in world football. Let's get into it. 10. Vinicius Jr. Given that clubs in La Liga have to write a release clause into any player's contract by law, it's no surprise that players from the biggest clubs in Spain dominate this list, and kicking it off is Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. Signed from Flamengo in May 2017 after just 69 senior appearances for a massive €46 million, the second most expensive sale in Brazilian history and the largest fee ever paid for a player under the age of 19, expectations were sky high for the left winger. It's fair to say that although his first 3 campaigns in the Spanish capital contained some standout moments, not least an El Clasico goal in March 2020 that moved Los Blancos 1 point ahead of their rivals with 12 games to go, and 2 goals against Liverpool in April 2021, it wasn't until this season that he truly came alive. With 7 goals and 3 assists in 12 league and UCL games at the time of writing, only 3 fewer than he managed in 47 appearances last term, the 21-year-old Brazilian's €700 million release clause isn't looking quite so ridiculous. 9. Marco Asensio. While Vinicius Jr.'s career is taking off, Marco Asensio hasn't yet recovered from a series of debilitating injuries. Signed from Mallorca in November 2014, he spent the following campaign on loan at Espanyol, where his 4 goals and 10 assists saw him named La Liga Breakthrough Star of the Year. He returned to Real and racked up an exceptional 21 goals in 91 games across the next 2 seasons, including 20 in the Champions League as they won the second and third titles of their three-peat. Since then, the injuries have become more frequent, with 10 games missed in 2018-19 and a massive 39 the following season after a cruciate injury sustained against Arsenal, keeping him out for 8 months. 8 goals and 2 assists in 42 La Liga games since is a pretty poor return for a player of his promise, and his hat-trick against Mallorca earlier this season constituted 3 of his 4 goal contributions in his last 16 La Liga games. Currently valued at just €37 million, a drop of just under €60 million in 3 years, his €700 million release clause seems ridiculously inflated. 8. Brahim Diaz. If a big release clause is meant to prove a club's commitment to a player, it rarely works out. Isco and Bale both have buyouts of over €500 million in their deals, while Junior Firpo's clause on joining Barcelona was €200 million, only for the club to sell him to Leeds for just €14 million. The same is true of Brahim Diaz, who was handed a €750 million buyout on arriving at Real Madrid in 2019, but is now on loan at Milan, having played just 21 times for Los Blancos. Given more than 10 league appearances for the first time at Milan last campaign, he produced 7 goals and assists in 15 starts, and this year he stepped up again, delivering 4 in 6 to date. At 22, that's highly promising, and Diaz's shot, key pass, pressing and dribble numbers are all excellent, while he's also now a full international, netting in a 4-0 victory over Lithuania on his debut in June. The terms of Diaz's loan agreement will see him return to Spain in 2023, so he could yet blossom into a Real Madrid starter, but we doubt it. The best thing for the youngster is a permanent switch to the Rossoneri, if they can negotiate a reduction on the €750 million fee. 7. Luka Modric. Unlike the majority of players on this list, Luka Modric is entering the twilight of his magnificent career. Loved by fans of Dinamo Zagreb and Spurs, it took until the last 6 or 7 years for the 144-time capped Croat to finally get the plaudits that his abilities truly deserve. A metronomic passer with an eye for goal and an otherworldly ability to dribble in tight spaces, with his successful take-on rate never dropping below 66% throughout his time in Madrid, Modric has been the beating heart of a Real side that have won 16 trophies in his near decade at the club. Crucially, while big-name signings in recent years like Azar and Jovic have struggled for form and fitness, Modric, who recently turned 36, is nearly always available, playing at least 40 games in all but 1 of 9 seasons at the Bernabeu. Despite his trophy-laden spell, the legend has never really appeared close to leaving Madrid, helped by the fact his release clause stands at a monster €750 million. Paid a reported $378,000 a week, 5th in Ancelotti's squad, Modric is still providing value for money. 6. Fede Valverde. Having had his otherwise fairly seamless progress punctuated by a challenging 2020-21 campaign, in which he spent 19 games on the sideline, Fede Valverde has done his best to impress new manager Carlo Ancelotti at the start of 21-22. With Toni Kroos only fit enough to feature in 2 La Liga games to date, the Uruguayan started Real's first 8 league matches of the campaign, completing the full 90 on 5 occasions. He seemed keen to impress, with his pass accuracy creeping above 89% for the first time in his career, and his tackles and interceptions per 90 climbing to 3.4. his best tally since 2018-19. With Eduardo Camavinga having settled in and Kroos now back, Ancelotti has 5 quality midfielders to choose from, but fast approaching 120 Real Madrid games at just 23, the Italian knows he can count on Valverde to perform on the highest stage. While his €750 million release clause, $500 million more than Kevin De Bruyne's, is nothing more than a waste of paper, it does go some way to show the esteem Valverde is held in at Real. 5. Antoine Griezmann. With mind-bending release clauses, you'd expect all the players on our list to have commanded huge transfer fees, but the only man in the top 10 to have swapped clubs for more than £50 million is Antoine Griezmann, whose Barcelona contract contains a buyout of €800 million, more than 6 times the ridiculous $120 million the Blaugrana paid for him shortly after his 28th birthday in 2019. Hilariously, the clause has done nothing to protect Barca's investment, with the Frenchman since returning on loan to the club they paid for his services, teaming up with João Felix, who Atleti bought with the money they got for Griezmann. However, culés can comfort themselves with his poor form, the attacker scoring as many goals for country as club since returning to Atleti, with a current XG per game of 0.25, half his previous worst, and about the same as West Ham fullback Vladimir Coufal. At 30, that's a huge cause for concern, but if Griezmann ends up dropping out of the Atleti first team, there's an even funnier possibility, that his purchase option would not be triggered and he'd return to Barca to see out his contract. Fingers crossed. 4. David Alaba. If there's one thing Real Madrid's release clauses tell us, it's that they don't understand that other clubs operate differently from them. To secure David Alaba's free signature in the summer of 2021, Florentino Perez offered the Austrian nearly €400k a week and slapped him with an €850 million buyout. A deserved mark of his achievements, yes, but perhaps overkill too, given that he's nearly 30. After starting at left-back during his first 3 games at Real, Ancelotti has moved Alaba more centrally to tighten up their back line, often utilising centre-back Nacho out of position on the left. Though Real have been porous, with 6 sides conceding fewer than their 11 league goals to date, Alaba has been excellent, missing just 1 game and even grabbing 3 goal involvements in the league. He may be pressing and recovering possession less than in Germany, but his 39 passes into the final third is only topped by Valverde and Casemiro in the entire squad, while he's created more chances than Modric and Kroos combined. After a solid start, which included an El Clasico goal, Alaba is all but guaranteed to be a huge success in Spain. What remains uncertain is what Madrid's success looks like after one of the greatest decades in their history. 3. Karim Benzema. With fans barred from stadia, serious illness afflicting players and supporters, and finances faltering, few in football have enjoyed the last 18 months, but Karim Benzema is one of them. The Frenchman has rediscovered his cutting edge and his international career as the figurehead of a new-look Madrid, and was rewarded back in August when Real extended his contract until 2023, at the same time inserting a €1 billion buyout in the deal. Perhaps that wasn't entirely necessary. Benzema is 34 in December, and only 2 players aged 30 or over have fetched a fee of more than £40 million. Cristiano Ronaldo and Miralem Pjanic. But Benzema's last 2 years have been his most prolific in Spain, producing 61 goal involvements in 69 starts, and he's already halfway to his best ever tally this term, with 16 contributions, the highest in Europe's top 5 leagues so far, ranking 8th on the continent for shots per game, and with 2.4 key passes per 90, the best of his career. The veteran only needs 30 more goals to go second in the club's all-time chart, surpassing Raul, and 70 more appearances to make the top 5 at the Bernabeu. When you add in his 3 titles and 4 Champions Leagues, €1 billion starts to seem almost reasonable. 2. Pedri. While Barcelona's start to the season has been underwhelming to say the least, with defeats against Atletico Madrid, Bayern, Benfica, and for the 4th consecutive time Real Madrid, there are at least some straws to clutch at for Barcelona fans. Whether by accident or design, Koeman has finally started trusting the club's youth players, with 8 players aged 21 or under being handed La Liga starts so far this season. Understandably, a lot of the attention has fallen on new midfield sensation Gavi, but Pedri, only a year older than his teammate, is much further along in his development. Although those 73 appearances for club and country in 2021, the most in Europe, have caught up with him recently, with injuries seeing him miss 7 games already, such was the quality of his performances and influence on the team, he more than deserved his new 5-year deal, which included a €1 billion release clause. Last season, he ranked 5th for chances created, 4th for dribbles completed, 4th for passes into the penalty area, and 4th for tackles and interceptions in Barcelona's squad, while his 189 successful pressures ranked 6th in the entirety of La Liga. No wonder the guy is tired. 1. Ansu Fati. Recently linked with a move for Raheem Sterling, Barcelona's precarious finances made such a swoop unlikely, but a new contract for Ansu Fati further clarifies their plans. The young Spaniard, who will be 19 by the time you see this, spent 323 days out with a meniscus rupture in the last year, but that hasn't harmed Barca's faith in him, with his deal extended until 2027 and a buyout of €1 billion, almost enough to cover the club's mounting debts. It's not hard to understand. Despite his tender years, Fati has a half-century of Barca appearances and a goal or assist every 116 minutes in senior play, the same as Kevin De Bruyne across his whole Man City career. Though he prefers to play off the left, Fati can feature as a striker, and his stats indicate he's already the complete package, with over 3 shots, 1.6 key passes, and 2 dribbles a game since his debut, while he also adds some much needed work rate to the Blaugrana attack, averaging 20 pressures per 90 to rank in the squad's top 3. If they're to remain a superpower, Barcelona need to find stars to fill their Messi-shaped hole, and do it for a fraction of the normal price. With Pedri and Fati already outstanding and each 5 years from their peak, at long last, there's reason for optimism at the Camp Nou. So those are the 10 biggest release clauses in football, but which ones make sense and which are ridiculous? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you next time.